life learning. Welcome to this Forest VR YouTube video. Thanks for tuning in. I've just started a creative game because I want to talk about custom floors and custom roofs. But in VR there are some limitations. There are some things you can't do which you can do in the standard pancake version of the game. Yeah, if I just show you what you probably already know, in the building section of your survival guide you can build custom foundations, custom floors, walls, roofs, staircases. They're your sort of basic 5 custom structures. And in VR there's no problem whatsoever just placing a sort of random shaped foundation down. I'm on HTC Vive, so I'm just using my Vive triggers to place this foundation. And as long as the game lets me build it, sometimes you have to wander around. There we go. That's a bit of an irregular shape. I can then put custom walls on that, and the game automatically places the walls to match the foundation. So let's remove that one. Let's just build these. This is a quick example. And then custom floor, that will again match the shape of the foundation. Even if I remove all but 1 or 2 of these walls, the floor would still match the foundation. So I can build that. I can build another set of walls on top. Thus. There we go. And finally, on top of this, you can place a custom roof. And when the blueprint snaps into place, there you go. So I might have to build a staircase just to get up there so I can actually build the roof. But again, I'm just showing you an example. There we go. So you can build your customized structures based on a foundation. If you don't place a foundation, you don't have to build custom walls. You can just build a series of walls. Again, just using my Vive controller trigger. Like that, for example. This has now become a structure in itself which I should be able to place a floor on top of. Snaps the floor to the shape of the foundation. Snaps the floor to the shape of the walls. The problem with VR comes in when you try to sort of divert from your original custom foundation shape, for example. So let's just find a slightly flat area over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a larger foundation. Just a sort of, again, just a random shape. Make this one a bit bigger, that'll do. Now let's say I wanted to draw some walls on this that didn't match the foundation. So I go into my book again, custom walls. Again, it's place the blueprint down the same shape as the foundation. But what I can do is I can use my right controller to start sort of what I call freehand drawing mode. And it looks like I should be able to now use my controller again to maybe draw a series of walls just covering this half. But if I click with my Vive controller, it goes straight back into the full blueprint. Let's say I start again, bring it away from the middle. Again, right click, my right trigger goes back into full blueprint mode. I seem to be stuck in the loop. Click, click, draw, click, no. What I think is happening is, in the pancake version of the game, when you start to build any custom structure, you can press C on the keyboard to change mode, and I think that's what the right trigger does. Primary fire changes the mode, and then right trigger again just changes the mode back. Similarly with the left trigger, I think is rotate, which you'll see if I do a floor. Right trigger is just rotate. Once you're in this custom building mode, you have no left and right mouse click. So I've changed mode. Now I need to do a left mouse click to place this wall down. I have no left mouse click with my triggers. But if you have a wireless mouse, which I do, and I have a wireless mouse in my pocket, I can now do a left mouse click, and it's just placed the wall down. Another left mouse click places another bit of wall. Again, this, I appreciate this is pretty sort of random shape, but I'm just demonstrating left mouse click, places these wall pieces. Left mouse. Let's do it to here. Left mouse. And let's just finish off. And then right grip on my Vive controller to build. So there we go. Using the mouse, I've managed to alter the shape of the custom wall that I want to build. So let's have a door here just as an example. Put some windows in maybe. A door. So there we go. I've built a small custom wall on my large custom foundation, because this is now a structure in itself. I'll be able to place a floor over the top of it. Okay. Okay. Let's say I wanted to build a few more walls. Again, it's given me the offering of a blueprint that extends around the entire platform. Let's do a separate one again here. So start there. Let's go right down to this. Let's just go to here. Let's have a little open area. Again, Vive trigger messes it up. So Vive trigger, right trigger to change mode, and then left mouse click to place. Left mouse click again. Let's do it to there. Left mouse click. Left mouse. And either left mouse now or just right Vive trigger to build. So again, we have a separate series of walls. So it's a shame you have to use the mouse, but it does show that it is possible. I know I've seen a few forums where people are saying that basically custom floors and custom roofs in VR are impossible. You can do basic ones, but you have to use a mouse if you want to do some sort of complex or more complex structure that breaks away from your sort of the foundation that you've placed, you know. Again, if I want to place a fence, this is now offering me a fence which goes around the entire foundation. You can see it over the other side. If I just want a little bit of fence here, if I want just a straight piece, I can just use the Vive controller. I can start to build it there, and then I can right grip to actually build. If I wanted a fence that has a junction point in it, right trigger. Now if I wanted to have the fence there coming towards me, I now need to use my mouse. So left mouse click, build. So it depends what you want to do. Sometimes you need to use the mouse. And a time when this particularly comes in handy, using the mouse, is if you want to build a bridge. Bridges placed on rock platforms, for example. These I know are very popular. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to build a foundation to check the height. So I'm just building this foundation just to get an idea of the height of the land. So just going to build a very small example. I don't actually want to build this. Very small example bridge. And you can build these as long as you like. You can build them over the sinkhole. And there are a couple of ways you can do these if you want a bridge over a rock wall. The first option, which if you're doing a small bridge like this over a very small distance, this is perhaps the better option. Draw a bit of rock wall section. This is using the Vive controller. Have a section of wall that snaps to 90 degrees from the first bit of wall. This is quite important, you'll need to know this. So it snaps to 90 degrees, and then draw the second piece also snapping to 90 degrees. There you go. Build this bit of wall. I want to cancel it. Okay. If you don't want these bits in between the two end pillars, cancel all of these and build this one. Now, as far as the game is concerned, this piece of wall and that piece of wall are a single structure. And as I said with the buildings I built over there, when you have a single wall structure, the game knows to place a a floor on it. So this is very useful if you want to easily place a nice straight floor onto 2 rock walls. Only takes 12 logs, so they're very cheap. And this method is also almost vital if you want one of these roofs that I think Farkit refers to as a scaffold. Worth tuning into Farkit's videos if you've not seen. What he doesn't know about the forest pretty much is not worth knowing, to be honest. And this roof takes 16 logs, and it's a very high sort of scaffolding. You know, you can use this as a bridge to get up a cliff or something. You'd be able to walk up there quite easily. You could probably take a log cart if you extend this down. So a very useful structure to build. But if you want it nice and neat and straight like this bit of wall has to be exactly parallel with that bit of wall. Okay, if they're not exactly parallel, you'll see what happens. I'm going to build 2 very similar pieces of wall. But I'm going to change the angle very slightly, so I'm going to bring the right hand side of that wall just towards me a bit. I'll build that one, and I'll go over here and do a very, very similar thing. Another wall. So they look like they're roughly parallel. But now this is where I need the mouse again. If I want a floor placed between these 2 bits of wall, as you can see, the game is not automatically providing me a blueprint because this is not the same structure. It's not a single wall. This one is a single structure, but these 2 aren't. So what you need to do is you need to use your right trigger, which I think is, like I said earlier, is the change mode option. Sometimes it doesn't work. There you go. Sometimes it takes ages to get this to actually start working. Sometimes it takes 50 clicks or a couple of minutes to get this to appear. But now I have the custom drawing mode that I had earlier. And this will let me, using my mouse again, left click, I can now draw a floor. But you'll see, because these bits of wall aren't parallel, it's slightly out of line. If I want to lock it into position there, and then here, it's irregularly shaped. It's not straight. If I do a right mouse click, it undoes those options. Oops, I pressed the right mouse button too many times. Using my Vive trigger again now to try and start this process again, but if it does this and it kind of goes a bit screwy, sometimes I need to just go back into the book, start again. There we go. So this time, rather than join these 2 ends together, so you have the ends of the logs here and the planks running lengthways, what I would suggest, what I think actually looks better, is to draw one of the long edges first. If this will let me snap this into place, yes it will. There we go. So that was another left mouse click, left mouse, and back over to this side. I hope you can see okay, it's getting quite dark in the game now. Left mouse click and build. So I've just built this floor on 2 completely separate individual rock platforms. Only requires 2 more logs than this one did. When I did this one over here, remember it was 12 logs. That was 14. I thought that was 12 earlier. It says 14 now. Oh no, it's 12. There we go. So this one's 12. So that's completed both of them. There we go. You have to run around sometimes just to get the build option. So this one costs 12 logs. This one costs 14. For this one I had to build 3 edges of the wall. And if you're trying to do this over the sinkhole, for example, all of the blueprints that I cancelled earlier, they will go down into the sinkhole and be practically impossible to get you to cancel without the use of console commands. Whereas this one, which I actually think looks nicer, I prefer this design to this. This I built on 2 completely individual stone walls, which would be very easy to do over the sinkhole. You can see the wall's a bit inaccurate, but the floor still went on quite happily. The downside of this one is you can't place such a nice roof on them. So Vive trigger to start the process. Left mouse. See, because the floorboards were slightly misaligned, you'll see that the roof will be misaligned as well. It's back off quite a way sometimes to get this to lock into place. There we go. So with this one, the scaffolding, it'll still work, but it'll look, it has these diagonal bits coming down because the end walls were not parallel to each other. Still only 14 logs, which I think was about the same as the one the other side. And actually, if you don't mind the look of it, it actually kind of looks like a suspension bridge. So if you're building a big bridge across a lake or a stream or something, having the ends slightly misaligned kind of makes it look a bit like a suspension bridge. The more out of parallel they are, the more of these extra downward bits you get. If they're completely out of line, then let's really put this one at an angle. I'm trying to sort of cover every contingency or every kind of shape. So there we go, these two are at a massively different angle. If I try and draw a roof between them, started with my controller, second step was with the mouse button. Mouse, build. Now look at it. Of course, 58 logs, that's incredibly expensive and stupid looking. So yeah, the log beams are all kind of heading towards this direction rather than that way, so you get these very odd looking roofs. Because this bit of wall and the other bit of wall are completely out of parallel. So you've probably built structures in the past where you have a roof which doesn't quite look neat like this one. And it's just because your end walls are not parallel to each other. Get these funny bits coming down. So yeah, I hope this has been of some use. If you have a wireless mouse and you're playing the Forest VR, stick it in your pocket and give this a go. It's not that much of an issue. And if you really want to build some complex structures, you can do it. In VR, you just need to use your mouse. And like I say, if you want a very nice, even scaffold, make sure your end walls are parallel. And the only way to do that, or the only way to ensure that the end walls are parallel, draw the first, join it together with a piece of wall at 90 degrees, and then do another 90-degree angle so you know that the end pieces are exactly parallel. So yeah, thank you for watching. If you've got any comments, I think I might be stuck. Yep, I've just got stuck. I can't get out of this gap. So this is a good place to end. If you have any comments, leave them in the comment section. I can't even get to my menu to get my axe out to break these down, so I am well and truly stuck here. And yeah, do subscribe because I intend to put out a few more videos regarding things I've discovered in the Forest VR. A few tips and tricks for you. Yeah, take care.